And, if you think that you're alone, I assure you are not. Being a nurse, I know that people are suffering. It's so painful how much people are struggling. So you're not alone. And they came out, they're trying, and that's all you can do.
Yeah. And I see that with my clients all the time who are really suffering and in pain, physical pain, emotional, mental. And they'll talk to me about it 50s, 60s, 70s. And they'll say, this is the first time I've ever spoken about this with somebody.
Yeah.
Hello, my honeys, and welcome to the Healthy Parents December 2022 update. Make sure that you've watched all of the Healthy Parents journey and story up until this point so that you know who these people are. But we're just going to get into it. And by the way, if you don't know who I am, I'm Healthy Emmie. I'm the creator of the Slim on Starch program, where you work with me as well as a mindset coach and a nutrition coach to lose weight on a plant-based diet. If you want to do that, you can click the link in the description bar. So we always start out with the flavor of the month. What was your favorite recipe from your cookbook or your rival cookbook from last month? Let's start with Healthy Mommy.
Well, it's a giving season, so I'll give this one to Healthy Dad. I really look forward to every week his veggie burgers.
As we are creatures of habit in regards to the normal routine, a week or two ago, you made your pasta dish. It was a nice change up. And I believe that's in your cookbooks on the website.
Wow, you both chose the other's cookbook.
Well, yeah. And, again, because what's interesting, because, what she's picked is what we normally have. But if it works, it works.
All right, now favorite primary food of the month. If you're new here, primary foods are not the foods on your plate. They're the things outside of your plate that nourish your soul. So hobbies, interests, relationships. Healthy Mommy, what was your favorite primary food from last month?
Well, you may or may not know that I do energy healing work. And this last month, we had a really special treat in our group. And that gentleman named Rob Wergen, who, if you've ever seen the Heal documentary, he was featured on that, came to our area specifically for our healing team. I got to participate in his healing group and also got to come back the next day to volunteer. Really, really great. Very, very spiritually healing. And it was great.
My answer is going to be from the irony standpoint. Last month, a lot has happened in the realm of understanding your mortality. So I have a close friend, and when I say close, we're going back to kindergarten. I should have gone down and got the picture. Who's been diagnosed with cancer, and it's a pretty serious situation, and helped me to remind myself that I am mortal, but at the same time to keep up the good habits that I'm doing. I may not be doing the right thing, but I'm not doing the wrong thing. And also, in the past week, two people that I've golfed with have passed away. So I have a wake today and I have a service Saturday. So it's been a little sobering, but, certainly understanding we're all going at some point, but it's not, when if it's my turn, it's my turn. Not when it's not my turn. That's when it's going to be lousy. But that's what's helped me to realize that keep my feet on the ground and keep forging ahead.
Something that Dr. Alan Goldhammer says is he says when people sort of fight me on this diet because they say I want to have a good life, what he says is I want to have a good death. Because many people, their death is dragged out and it's horrible, and they die for a decade or they die very painfully. So I'm sorry that you've gone through this, but I'm impressed by the perspective.
Well, here's someone who can help.
He feels bad for him.
Thank goodness you're ahead of the curve. You do the things that people wish they had done when the cost-benefit analysis, the cost becomes too high. Yeah. What wins do you want to share with us from last month?
That as you're so sick of hearing me talk about this retirement, but as it approaches, I'm really solid. I think probably the last time we talked about it, I was hemming and hawing about I'm not going to be a nurse anymore. But I feel I'm excited about it. And that was always my goal, to feel like I was graduating from something rather than leaving something. So feeling really positive about it.
I talk with a lot of my clients. So many of my clients are nurses or teachers or mothers. A lot of helpers and givers, I find, become clients of mine, usually because they spent all of their life taking care of everybody else and not taking care of themselves. And something that's really exciting through our work together is I get to meet them and find out who they are. So you've been Lisa the nurse for how many years?
Right, 40 years.
40 years. And now we get to find out who Lisa is.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting. Yeah,
I hope you like her.
Yeah. Well, he met me before I was Lisa the nurse.
That's what Nicole Kidman says about Keith Urban. I love him and I like him.
Yeah. It's important.
Do you? With Mom?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
Neither.
All right. It's a month from today. Drum roll.
Well done.
Oh, yeah.
From today,
oh, my goodness. It's December 1st.
Yeah.
So Healthy Mom is retiring 1 month from today.
Big win for me in the past month.
Drum roll.
I got my Medicare card.
Might not want to show those.
They'd have to zoom in pretty
and
tight.
Here's my social
But I
security.
got my Medicare card. I go on a month from today. The day Lisa hangs it up is the day I go on Medicare.
Mom, what did you learn in the month of November?
I learned something. I'm just looking over at her card right now. A very lovely Healthy Honey, and you know who you are, from Maine, sent me a card. And I thought that was so thoughtful and really made me realize how this internet thing really can bring people who don't really know each other close together in a really meaningful way. She took the time to send me a card. I thought that was so thoughtful. So it reminded me the importance of always reaching out to people.
Yeah, because there are a lot of silent lurkers who I'm sure you and your journey, you've made a huge impact on, and you'll never know because they'll never reach out. So if you watching are a lurker and if you've been silently inspired by either of them, leave a comment for the first time so that you can see so many people are so inspired.
Right. You know, all those years I worked in college health, we always used to say that you plant a seed, but they're only with us for 4 years. So you may never see the benefits of how you've helped them. But to know that you have is great.
You mentioned how you took the time. So the wake that I'm going to today, the guy has one daughter. I think she's 40, but so probably 30 years ago, before the internet and cell phones and all that, I had called the guy up because I wanted to play golf with him. And she answered the phone. So let's say she was 10 or 9 and I knew her name. I won't say it, but I took about 20 to 30 seconds. I asked her what sports she played, how school was, and so on. And when I went and played golf with the guy, he took 10 minutes telling me what I did was the best thing that he's ever seen for his kid. So I'll be able to tell her this story this afternoon when I see her and say, listen, your father taught me a lesson. And I coached and the score never mattered. It was what we did for these kids. So hopefully I can give her back the lesson, which she probably is already practicing knowing, her father. But it was the reminder that I got this week. When I saw that he passed away.
Healthy Mummy, what positive changes will you make in December?
I really, again, if you've been following us long enough, know that I'm a huge fan of Eckhart Tolle. And now that I have more space in my brain and less brain power worrying about work and patience, I listen to him more. And that's what I want to continue to do because it helps put me in a good mind space for the day so that my monkey mind doesn't run my whole day. I have a lot more space for quiet.
I was thinking about this yesterday. So my electricity went out yesterday, which was a nightmare.
Not good for Healthy Emmie.
Slept on the couch here last night. But how when something bad happens, it elicits this not so great part of you.
Yeah.
When something great happens, you feel fantastic. You feel on top of the world. So whenever I'm feeling that bad part arise, I remind myself that the good part of me is in there still and how external things can make the good part or the bad part arise and how I am the one who's really in control and not having an external locus of control. So when my power went out yesterday, I reminded myself the part of me that was having a great day is still in here. So I'm going to just channel myself into that energy and not let something externally decide how I'm going to feel about this. So with you, it's kind of like you're bringing Eckhart from, I have to listen to him to remind me of all this stuff. Listening to him so often that he becomes the voice inside your head.
Right. Because the ultimate goal really is to be okay, whether things are good or bad.
Exactly. I remember, Dad, you and I had a conversation once, and you were going to like the Masters or something. You were going to something exciting. And I was like, are you excited? This was years ago. And you said, I don't want to be excited. And then I just kind of want to be like this all the time. And that stuck with me so much because when you're excited for something, there's always
a fall.
There's the fall.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I do. No. And I kind of bring that into my philosophy with food too. Like on the holidays, I don't want to go crazy, because then December 26th comes and you just feel disgusting.
Right.
I don't want the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
So I am completely aligned with that. I just kind of want to be, every day's a great day. You could live like a prince, a king for a day, or a prince for a lifetime.
Right. Yeah.
Close.
Isn't that it?
You could live like a king for a year or a prince for a lifetime.
Oh, what positive changes are you going to make moving into December?
All right. So, again, I've already talked about the kind of the four things that have happened over the past month. The good news, Medicare, that I got myself settled. But, then the three downsides of my friend getting sick and two people passing away, just to operate within the reminders of the good habits that I keep. And yes, it's December, and yes, there'll be desserts, and yes, there'll be, other temptations, but, which I will not completely ignore, but at the same time, not ignore at all some of the good things that I do, such as exercising, swimming. I even got out on the bike this week. It was warm enough, but to do as much of that kind of stuff as possible, given the weather conditions.
When emotional things happen, it's our knee-jerk reaction to revert back to what's comfortable and methods of comfort that are usually numbing and positive in the short term, but destructive in the long term. And the best thing to do is what you are doing, which is to keep routine. So as opposed to, people think, oh, I've had people pass away, I've had these really difficult things happen, and so I want to go to the cake and the cookies and the pastries. I can understand how that's going to give you that short term. But if you numb out what really is going on below the surface and you never deal with it, it's going to build up and build up. And at some point, what we run from only stays with us longer. We're going to have to grieve. So you have to keep your routine so that you can allow yourself to grieve as opposed to numbing out through food. What do you have coming up in December that you need help planning for?
I look at my December calendar, it's full already. So I'm reminded now how busy this month is. I don't know how I did it when you guys were little. I was telling Dad about how, when they were little and they believed in Santa and trying to...
Wait, what?
Yeah. And trying to not see the UPS guy it was just frenetic craziness. But it's such a busy month, and to try not to become exhausted by it.
I have a question for you. I have a follow-up question about that. This has always been the tough thing for you, is in social situations when the
nibbling.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember that from last time.
How do you feel about that now?
Yeah, I'm aware of it, which I think is important to be aware of it, that I do when I'm all talked out at a party, that I tend to, that's when I start to nibble. I'm aware of it. So that's step one. And we'll see how it goes this Christmas time.
1,000,000%. I think it was like Confucius. I don't know. Awareness is the catalyst of change. It was somebody, and probably Tommy. And I tell my clients, you can spend as much time gathering data and being aware as you need to. We don't have to, there's the stages of change. We don't have to go from 0 to 100 right this second. In fact, I can argue that the way that you're doing it, you're really getting down to the nitty gritty. Why do I do this? When do I do this? To ensure that you're overriding this habit and it's not one that's just going to come back because you overrode it in a very flimsy and quick manner.
Yeah. It's really, it makes you feel calmer to be aware of it.
Yeah. And we'll bring, for like the mom's party, we'll bring Good Neighbors hummus and bring fruit platters so that you can nibble on the good stuff.
Right.
What's coming up for you in December, Dad?
In regards to an overall situation, we've talked about this before, that in social situations with the people that we socialize, not that we do a ton. They all know where we are. So, again, me, the planner, blah, 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 blah. As far as Christmas, I'm not into the things. I don't need things. I don't want things.
Also my nightmare.
I want less.
Yes.
And, we'll have a nice tree and we'll have a fire and all that. And that's good enough.
That's all I want.
Yeah.
I don't want anything.
And again, from the standpoint of not trying to overcomplicate my life, I try not to overschedule myself. And I have something to do every single day. And again, we try to do it in the morning so we can hang out in the afternoon. Seriously.
Any struggles that you're working through that you seek guidance on?
Nothing that pops up really. This whole thing about our friends and the life changes are a struggle, but I'm sort of used to that. I'm still trying I realize now that I can't fix other people. And that's, again, another awareness that I'm working through. Can't fix all their problems for them.
That's another thing that comes back to when I think about my clients, the helpers, the fixers, and when things are going on with their kids, difficult things, they want to numb through food or cope through food or make themselves feel good through food. And it's the tough pill to swallow that we just have to sit with some discomfort and we have to swallow some tough pills and we can't feel good and comfortable all the time.
Right.
We were talking about that, how we need to feel all the emotions as humans. It's part of the human experience, is to feel discomfort too. And you have to sit with it sometimes. You can't always numb it out. You can't selectively numb. Brene Brown talks about this. You can't numb out bad and expect to feel good. You numb out one thing, you numb out everything.
Right. If someone told you that in the end you're going to be so happy and at peace, but you're going to have to go through a lot of suffering to get there, you probably wouldn't say I want that, but that's life.
Yeah. Any struggles for you, Dad?
So again, just the reminder of and we've talked about this before, as well as staying in your own lane. And, I come back to my friend who is sick, and you think you want to try to help, but you may be creating more work for that, for the family of the person who is sick. So the person I'm talking to in this situation, I said, listen, you need someone to talk to, you call me. I won't bug you. And sometimes it's like the more you get done, the slower you go, the faster you get there. So it's, it's in that respect. It's just a, constant reminder. There's always something going on. So you just got to do your best to, to try to manage it and be of help when you can really help somebody. And if you end up, just being an ear for someone, that's good too.
When I was a teacher, and it was just...
You still are.
Yeah.
But you would say, I'm in the classroom, it's just me, the kids are... And you said, well, what we do, that's when we come together. You have to lean on others for support.
Right.
How does this relate back to food? Turn to people, not food. So in these situations, you have to come together and lean on others.
Right.
Food doesn't have arms that are going to reach out and hug you like somebody else could.
And, if you think that you're alone, I assure you are not. Being a nurse, I know that people are suffering, but being at that healing weekend, it was just a whole different setting to realize it's so painful how much people are struggling. So you're not alone. And they came out, they're trying, and that's all you can do.
Yeah. And I see that with my clients all the time who are really suffering and in pain, physical pain, emotional, mental. And they'll talk to me about it 50s, 60s, 70s. And they'll say, this is the first time I've ever spoken about this with somebody.
Yeah.
And they'll say, you're going to think I'm crazy when I tell you this story. I'm like, first off, I've had over 2,000 clients. I've heard it all. We are unique, but our struggles are not.
Right. Agree.
Anything else that you'd like to share with us?
The only thing I'd like to share, it's the end of a year, it's the start of a new year, so symbolically it is a good time to make any changes you'd want to, but that the opportunity for change is always there. Every day, every moment. Just keep swinging.
Anything else you'd like to share,
Yeah,
Dad?
and again, if you can be a creature of a few good habits, you don't need that many good habits um, to really take care of yourself. And as I always say, good habits are as easy to keep as bad habits. But and if you out there doing your job, like I was up at the Y this morning, and people are talking to me because they see that I'm dedicated doing what I'm doing. I'm not there to be photographed or interviewed or anything like that. I'm there to just do my thing. And and people come over, and I was actually getting some free advice from the trainer this morning, because he says, you're doing it the right way. And again, I'm not there to check the box. I'm there to exercise. I'm there to swim. So, if you can just pick up a couple good habits, walk the block if you're a sedentary type.
What did you do this morning at the Y?
I did kind of like, I'll call it like stretching, yoga, meditation, box jumping, shavasana. I kind of do it all. And
You swam?
no, that's tomorrow. So again, I kind of switch back and forth just to not make it completely monotonous from to do the same thing every single day.
Oh yeah, you got it. If you want to work with me and my team, click the link in the down bar, and we'll see you for the January 2023 update. Bye.